Welcome to a brand new art series called Fusion Lab, where I take two random animals and merge them to create an entire new hybrid species. In today's episode, I'll be combining a cat and a caterpillar to create a cat-erpillar. So let's get started. First, I prepared the base by shaping some tinfoil into a simple head form. Then I conditioned the clay through the pasta machine to make it smooth and even, before wrapping it around the base to form the head. Now for the difficult decision, the eyes. I wanted to go for a more realistic, smaller eye look, even though everything about this build is super unrealistic. But the more I worked on it, the more I hated it, so I started over. Then I made the eyes huge, and that also didn't work, so I went a size down and finally settled on medium-sized eyes. And of course, I had to add a little tongue. I also wanted to add antennas, but attaching them without support could risk cracking or breaking once they've been baked. So I cut some wire for structural support and sculpted some tiny antennas onto the head. I did, however, take the antennas off again to attach the ears. Then, the feet. There was no way I was sculpting 16 pairs of feet. So once again, I booted realism out of the studio and made 6 pairs instead. After baking, I painted her a bright pink and added details with a darker shade. This doll has probably been the most satisfying to paint out of all of my makes so far. After everything dried, I went over with a dark dry brush to add some depth. Then came the tedious job of painting all the feet individually. It's funny, with the recent heat waves, my glaze and paints have gone really watery. You can kind of see the lumpiness where the glaze is split, but it still works, thank goodness. Then it was time to sew. I've had this faux fur since I was about 5. I remember a few years after we bought it, I thought it would be a brilliant idea to make miniature coats out of it. But I had no concept of sewing, ended up cutting a huge hole smack bang in the middle and tried to fix it with PVA glue. As you can probably guess, it failed miserably. So now trying to work around the massive hole has been a bit of a nightmare. Thanks past me. After a few hours, the sewing was done. I decided to go over the fabric with alcohol markers to add some spots across the back, just to bring some more caterpillar-ness to the doll. And with that, it's time for the final result.